God's grace and peace be with you today, friends and neighbors. I'm here today with some updates about how things are going to look around here this fall. I'd really hoped that we'd be able to have this conversation in person, and I'd really hoped that this conversation wouldn't be necessary at all. But here we are. And now thinking about this week about how I'd hoped, and it made me think of the story of Luke 24 on the road to Emmaus. It's the day of the resurrection. And it goes like this. It's that same day. And it's Jesus' first appearance, the resurrected Jesus. On that same day, the day of the resurrection, two of the disciples were going to a village called Emmaus, which is about 7 miles from Jerusalem. Jesus himself came near and he walked with them, but their eyes were kept from recognizing him. And he said to them, "What are you discussing with each other as you walk along?" They stood still, staring at him, dumbfounded and sad. And they finally were able to speak up, and one of them said, "Are you the only stranger in Jerusalem who does not know the things that have taken place there in these days? The things about Jesus of Nazareth, who was a prophet, mighty in deed and word before God and all people, who was handed over to be condemned to death and crucified. But we had hoped that he was the one to come and redeem Israel." We had hoped that he was the one to redeem Israel. They had hoped for the coming of the one that they didn't even recognize in their midst. Now, the last time we had this scripture passage for church on a Sunday was the third Sunday of the Easter season. It was 2 weeks after Easter Sunday, and we read that. And I thought that there's something, I guess, poetic and poignant and maybe instructive for us in the fact that 2 weeks after the Easter season, we celebrate the resurrected Jesus, and we hear from these disciples who were dumbfounded at the loss of the Messiah and really just the loss of their hopes and dreams, and then weren't even able to recognize him in their midst. We had hoped you were the one to redeem Israel. And I remember thinking on that Sunday morning that I had hoped we'd be back in the sanctuary by now, and here I am, end of the summer, and I had hoped we'd be starting back up again and getting back to normal as summer winds down and we go into fall. But the things I'd hoped for, well, they're not quite turning out the way that I'd wanted. As we waited to hear back from the school superintendents about what school was going to look like, and they're taking a cautious and a distance approach to school. And I'm looking at all the colleges from around the country that reconvened back for those first weeks, and then 1 and 2 weeks in, now they're having to send students home. And I can imagine how much they had hoped that it was going to work out the way they wanted. But it didn't. And so we carry on, and we wait. And I keep thinking about that gospel story about those disciples who were walking with Jesus and they didn't even know it. And they kind of put their heart on their sleeve about the things that they had hoped for. We hoped he was the one to redeem Israel. And what they're really saying is, we had hoped that he wouldn't have died. But without the death, there'd have been no resurrection. And without the resurrection, there'd have been no redemption. And redemption, I think that's I think it's such a neat word, because it speaks to bringing things around. I always think about the coupons that we get in the mail, and when we redeem them at the store, we get something special. Redeemed means bringing things back around and something new coming about because of that. And there's tons of new stuff going on around here, and I'm so excited, even in the midst of a fall unlike the one that I'd hoped for. I'm so excited to say that our kitchen in the fellowship hall is getting revamped, and that is underway. We've got online instructions going out for confirmation and for Sunday school. What I'd really hoped is to be able to see you all here on Sunday mornings, and that's the thing that we're going to have to put off for now, for the same reason, I guess, somewhat the same reason that the colleges were able to meet and then had to stop again because of the amount of people coming from all different walks of life and all different parts of the country coming and sharing in those same spaces together that made it dangerous. And man, church is the same way. That Sunday morning sanctuary experience, we've got like 5, even 6 generations of people coming in from all over, right? All over town, all over the state, all over the country, and even in the world. And so taking a slow approach on getting back in the step with Sunday sanctuary worship is a necessary move. But what I really enjoyed is the decision and the move to have small groups be able to meet again. The Quilters are back in the building. Groups like Welka and the Altar Guild, they're able to meet. Narcotics Anonymous has been back in the building, and I'm so thankful to be able to provide that opportunity again for folks who call our building home. I am more than thankful for your stewardship of the congregation throughout this time. I've been here, the staff has been here, your leaders have been here working away and planning things out and making sure that we get things right. And that doesn't always mean getting things right on the first try, but our goal is always to get things right in the end. And so we're still at small steps, but your stewardship has been absolutely vital, and I can't tell you how much that's contributed to our ability to keep things rolling around here and keep the church growing and keep the church active and vital and alive, even when it means that we aren't meeting on Sunday morning. It means really that we take the church with us. I saw this image on the internet a couple weeks ago about this hermit crab who's got the church on his back, and it's from a guy called Scott the Painter, and he says that the building was never your home, the ocean is. And that ocean is that outside world, and that continues to be where the work and the ministry of Christ Church happens. Things are happening around here. If you guys want your small groups to get back meeting in this place, please feel free. If you need entry into the building, let us know, and we're going to get it on the schedule. Bible study is going to be happening here once again starting in September. We're going to make it possible to Zoom in for folks who can't be here in person. And really what we're focused on is manageable sized groups from the congregation. Manageable sized groups, and we're going to make sure that those groups are able to meet, and that we're able to keep those communities tight, but keep them vital and active. And so I really want to thank you for your commitment to the congregation and the faith that you've placed in God, and the grace you've shown me, and all the leadership. We've got a road ahead of us. I pray. I know that we have over and over and over again, like those disciples, missed Christ's presence in our midst. But my prayer is that we always see it there when God decides that we need to see it, that we never miss opportunities to care for one another and to see Christ in our midst as he comes and as he walks alongside of us and he leads us on. My peace be with you, my friends, and hope to visit with you soon, hope to see you soon. Until then, God's peace be with you.